What's up, guys? Garrett here with Selftaughtdev. Welcome back to the HTML tutorial basics series. This is the last HTML tutorial we are going to do. Then we're moving on to CSS. So congrats on making it this far. In this one, we are going to talk about what goes in the head tag here. There is a lot of stuff that can go in here. We're not going to get everything, but we're going to get some of the more common ones you need to have. So the first one we're going to add is going to be a title tag. Now this is what's going to show up in the tab here and also down here. And then it's also what Google is going to use as the title of the page. So 10 impressive health benefits of apples. That's probably what's in the title tag. So for this one, we are just going to say HTML basics tutorial, and then we'll put self-taught dev. And as you can see, the tab up here changes to HTML basics tutorial, and it changes down here as well. It might be kind of hard to see since the text is kind of small, but just gotta trust me on it. Now, the next tag we're gonna add and learn about is gonna be a meta tag. Meta tags are self-closing, so you don't need the closing tag on that, but we do need a name attribute. So the first one is gonna be a description. Is that spelled right? Description. Oh God, I'm horrible at spelling. And then content is going to be a website used for the self-taught dev HTML basics tutorial series. And then we're gonna spell content right. And then save. Now this one isn't gonna make any visible changes to the page, but if we inspect, the meta description tag is there. This is what Google will sometimes use for the meta description on the search results. A lot of times it'll just pull some content from your page that it thinks is relevant, but if it can't find anything good, it will default to whatever your meta description tag is. So that's what that one is used for. The next meta tag we're gonna learn about is going to be the viewport. And then we're gonna add content. And in here we're gonna say width equals the device width. And then we want to say initial scale is 1.0. And then we'll close that. Now what this is gonna do is set the width of the content to the device's width. So if you pull up the page on an iPhone or on a mobile device, if you don't have this tag, it can render the page on the desktop view. So it'll basically think it still has this much room to display everything, but it'll only be displaying it on something that's like this square small because it's on an iPhone. So this basically helps the browser know, hey, we need to make the width of this page the device width. So you need that for responsiveness. Now there are a lot of other meta tags out there. We are not going to go over all of them. These are the only two we're going to cover today. What I want you to do after this is over is Google HTML meta tag and look at a few of the other name attributes that are available for them, and just get kind of familiar with a few of them. Now, the next tag we are going to add is going to be a style tag. Cannot spell today. There we go. Now, this tag is basically saying, hey, whatever's in here, this is going to be CSS. You need to style the page with this CSS. So we haven't gone over CSS yet, but if we grab the body tag and say background black, and then save, the background of our page is black, which is not very good because we can't read any of the text. But this will basically just render any CSS on the page. So we don't need to worry about that too much yet. We're gonna get into that in more detail in our CSS tutorials, but just know that the style tag lets you render CSS on the page directly from the HTML. Usually you're going to have a link tag, and this is a few different attributes as well. So we're gonna say rel equals style sheet, type equals text CSS, and href, just like we have with the anchor tags, is going to be styles.css. Now this, if you put this on your page, it won't do anything. I have a style sheet in mine where I've added a few basic styles for the page. Again, we'll go over that more in our CSS tutorial series. Just know that usually you will link to an external style sheet and pull the styles in. You usually don't want to have those on your HTML page. But again, we'll get in that more detail in our CSS series. So if we save now and go here, you can see it's got some basic styles added. Everything's text aligned, centered. Something you do need to note is LIs list elements can be kind of tricky when you're centering stuff because the dots don't move how you think they should. And then the background color is a little different now because we modified the background color. To learn more about that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get notified when the CSS tutorials start coming out. Now, the last tag we want to learn about is the script tag. Now, this is where you are going to write JavaScript if you want to write it on the page. Usually, again, you'll link to an external JavaScript file. You won't have it written in the HTML. And oftentimes, if you do have it written straight in the HTML, or even if you're importing JavaScript, you want to have this down at the bottom of the page, because when the page loads, it loads from top to bottom, right? So it'll start loading this. If it hits the CSS file, it'll go get the CSS file and bring that back. Then it will render all the content. And then usually JavaScript will take a little bit longer to load. So as long as you're loading JavaScript to last, all of the content's basically rendered to the page so you can see everything on the page. And then this part is basically loading behind the scenes. But there's some nuance to that. We'll get into that if we do a JavaScript tutorial series. But just know that JavaScript would go in this tag if you wanted to write it on the HTML document. And like I said, oftentimes you're going to be linking to external JavaScript files. So for that, we're basically just going to say source src equals, and then I'll say script.js because I've got a little JavaScript file here. It doesn't do much. It just alerts the page that, hey, the JavaScript is connected. So script is connected. That's what I told it to say in the JavaScript file here. Script is connected. So we know the JavaScript file is connected and working. So that is about it for the HTML tutorial series. For the last challenge for this one, what I want you to do is add a title tag to your page, add the meta tag for description and viewport, and we're not going to mess with the style, link, or script tags yet. We're going to learn about those in future tutorials. So for the last tutorial, just add those, then grab the snipping tool, grab a picture of that, and post it in the Discord in the HTML tutorial 6, and that'll be your last challenge for the HTML tutorial series. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date when we put out more tutorials for you. Hit that thumbs up if this helped you out at all. If you want to send your resume in to get some feedback, my email's in the description. Feel free to send it in. I will put it in a resume review video, but I'll block out your personal information. And if you want to come hang out in the Discord and talk tech or just say hey, the Discord link is in the description as well. I think that's about it for now. I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.
Round 1.